My name's Chris Fairclough. I'm the Curriculum Operations Leader for the Higher Engineering, Science and Nuclear Department at Lakes College and the National College for Nuclear Northern Hub. My bachelor's degree was in nuclear plant operations and processes, and I studied it 5 years part-time, so kind of day release. But at the same time I was working at Sellafield and they were sponsoring me through that degree. So they paid for my degree, but then they also paid me a wage. And kind of as a 18, 19-year-old starting off in the business, we were put straight into technical roles. So I think Sellafield had kind of a gap. So they had level 3 apprentices coming through on the craft side. Then they also had a graduate scheme, so bringing graduates in from university, going into technical roles. We had this gap in the middle where they identified, well, actually, why don't we grow our own graduates? So I was lucky enough to be on the first wave of that scheme. And you know, it was a way of developing not just your technical knowledge during your degree, but also kind of your knowledge, skills and behaviours in the workplace. So back then, I mean, I graduated in 2012, so the kind of higher apprenticeships weren't a thing then, but we still had workbooks, we still had work packs to work through. And the idea was, well, you're developing all of this knowledge over the 5 years of the course of your bachelor's. How are you applying it in the workplace? How are you able to apply it? Are you able to apply it? In terms of my career, I was seeing graduates come into the department and into the company who had been to university, had done master's degrees, 5-year master's degrees, for example, full time, and they were coming in fresh-faced, and they were coming in at 23, 24, completely fresh-faced, no idea what industry was about, and they were having to start from scratch at that point. Whereas by the time I got to 24, I'd almost completed my bachelor's degree, but I'd also had 4 or 5 years experience behind me as well. And I think that put us, I'm not going to say ahead because I think that's wrong because it's not a competition, but it certainly gave us an advantage when we were discussing things in meetings because we knew how the company worked, we knew how different plants, because say at Sellafield for example, it's such a large place, there's different plants, each plant works slightly differently. So having that ability to work with different groups of people from across the site and understand their challenges really helped my development. The idea behind HTQs, I think it's a fantastic opportunity for FE colleges to really get a grasp on and take a hold of that level 4 and level 5 academic study, because I think universities, you know, fantastic, you know, what they deliver, particularly in engineering, and some of your Newcastle and your Manchesters, you know, fantastic universities delivering great degrees. But do those qualifications necessarily fully meet the local area? Whereas at Lakes College, you know, we are in the west coast of Cumbria, we do support the nuclear industry really closely and you know, the other manufacturing industries in the area. But we're about keeping people local. I think that's going to be one of the keys for the HTQs going forward, is that people and students coming through completing A-levels or even completing level 3s at the colleges can aspire to do higher qualifications without having to travel to bigger cities, for example, to go to these universities. They can stay local and study local. And particularly, you know, people from Cumbria, for example, you know, we are kind of home birds, I suppose. We do like to stay local. And actually there's a lot of bright kids in Cumbria, and I think by us developing these degrees has really helped keep some really good talented youngsters in the area. When the National College for Nuclear was created, one of the things we started to look at was, right, what degrees are we going to need to develop? So we worked with the University of Cumbria, who is one of our major partners within the National College for Nuclear project. And we validated with the University of Cumbria a range of foundation degrees at level 5 and bachelor's degree top-ups at level 6. And it enables us to focus our curriculum on what the local needs are for the local nuclear industry and its supply chain. And what we found actually was because of the way we developed our curriculum, particularly for bachelor's level and our mechanical engineering route, for example, it's not nuclear, it's mechanical engineering. So we're not just getting people from the nuclear supply chain and the nuclear industry directly, we're also getting people from companies like Igerson, for example, who are a manufacturing company in the area. And it enables us to broaden our scope and support more industries in the area. When we developed the degrees, we wanted to align the degree programs with competencies, so knowledge, skills and behaviours, and particularly around the higher apprenticeships. Obviously you can't write a degree and design a degree to fit every single potential list of competencies that, or apprenticeships that you could run alongside it. What we decided to do is focus on nuclear to start off with, but then looking at the competencies, the Engineering Council competencies for engineering technician for level 5, and then also iEng competencies at level 6. And what we found by linking that through with certain modules on the degree, so we've got kind of work-based learning modules, professional development modules, and even the project modules on both the foundation degree and the bachelor's. It allows us, and it allows the students to focus the work that they're doing within those modules to their own set of competencies that they're developing towards. So if, for example, we've got higher apprentices studying on a particular apprenticeship, and I might have a group of students in front of me who might be a mix of level 6 nuclear, could be level 6 manufacturing, level 6 civil engineering standard, but I could also have some self-funders as well. Now, they're not doing an apprenticeship, so what competencies are they going to work towards? Well, they can work towards the engineering technician or the incorporated engineer competencies. And I think the real benefit to the kind of idea behind HTQs is to make sure that the qualifications that are being designed and delivered are at the same standard as what they would be if they were being delivered to an apprentice. So you've got students coming through who might be self-funding, coming through a HTQ, but they're getting the same level of knowledge, skills and behaviour development that an apprentice is at that same level. I think, going forward, particularly with the challenges that the UK are going to have within engineering and manufacturing, for example, and science going forward, we're going to need more technicians, we're going to need more engineers and scientists. So what better way to do that than let FE colleges take some control over that? Because we designed the degrees with the apprenticeship competencies in mind and always looking at KSB development, the transition for our foundation degrees to be assigned as designated HTQs shouldn't be that big for us at all. It would be minimal work for us. The first thing to do, from my point of view, would be speak to the employers, because they're going to tell you exactly what they're wanting. And there might be things that you might think, right, in these qualifications, we want to get the employers' input, and we want to have things in there that the employers want, but there might be things that we have specialisms in, and that seamlessly embed into that qualification as well. I think it's having that joint communication between you and the employers, and saying, right, let's unpick exactly what roles you want to fill. What bits of knowledge do they need for those roles? What skills do they need? What kind of behaviours do you as a company want your workforce to exhibit? Or not just your company, but your kind of sector. So it could be, in our case, nuclear, for example. And it's about kind of identifying and unpicking all of that first, and then you can start clumping bits together into modules, and then you can start looking at assessments and stuff like that. But without the employer engagement, how do you know what you're developing is going to be right for the students coming through? Because the whole idea behind a HTQ is to give students the skills, knowledge and behaviours required by local industry to allow them to seamlessly transition across. And as an academic delivery team, if we can embed those behaviours and the skills and the knowledge right the way through the qualification, then that's a fantastic opportunity for the students. And I think that'd be kind of priority number one for me. Priority number two would actually be looking at your teaching area and your learning area for the students, and seeing how you can embed sector-specific behaviours within your kind of academic area. So we're lucky, we have our own building, so we have a bit more control over what happens within our building. But we want our students to exhibit nuclear behaviours as soon as they walk in. So not just our higher students, but also our level 3 students. And everyone gets treated the same. So, you must have your badge before you come in. It's swipe badge only when you come in. People will challenge you if you don't have your badge on. Obviously during COVID, we've obviously had to wear masks. Again, people are challenging. And it's not challenging to be difficult, because when you're on a nuclear site, if you're doing something unsafe or you haven't got your badge on, people will challenge you, and it's getting used to that idea of, if I'm being challenged by someone, they're not trying to be nasty or horrible, it's because I'm doing something that I can learn from. And I've been in that industry, I know what it's like to be challenged and to challenge, and it is difficult, but you develop that skill to be able to do that. So if someone's on a HTQ or on our degree programs, so the apprenticeships, we're developing that straight away, and within our level 3 learners as well.